All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. Can everybody hear me okay? Thumbs up, smile. Good to see a lot of you back from yesterday who were on our networking Zoom. It's always fun to see everybody. All right, got some love signs going up. Jacob sent up a love sign. All right, today we're here to do a webinar that we're really excited about. It's called The Basics of Google Business Profile that Small Business Owners Must Do Today. And our goal is that you're going to walk away today with some tips that you can actually do today. My name is Neil Schneider. I'm the founder of Go Local Arizona, and Go Local Arizona is a small business advocacy organization working to help small business owners like you, connecting with clients, other business owners, and connecting with marketing like we're doing today. Some people do think that Go Local Arizona is a marketing agency. We are not a marketing agency. We provide marketing information and try to connect you with people like the folks at Fantastic Media that we're talking to today. So while we don't do marketing for businesses, we help you connect with it. So that's to explain that briefly. Also, I'm going to put in the chat here in a few minutes, but we got some networking events coming up. We have some in-person networking events and some Zoom networking events. So just watch the chat for that. And with that, I'm gonna introduce our key presenter, and then he's gonna introduce his team member. Jacob Fan is our presenter today. He's the owner and founder of Fantastic Media, an Arizona agency specializing in helping home service businesses dominate local search and generate consistent leads. He's helped 250 contractors, remodelers, HVAC, plumbing, and other service companies grow using Google paid ads, content, and proven local marketing systems similar to what we're speaking about today. He's been featured on Channel 5, ABC, Phoenix Business Journal, and today works hands-on with business owners to simplify marketing, cut waste, and build predictable lead engine strategies. We've had the opportunity to go to lunch and we've spoken numerous times, and I love the passion that Jacob brings and the love he has for small businesses, and that's why I connect with him really well. We both really love to support small business owners, and he's put a whole team together today. But all of this today is to help you out. And with that, Jacob, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you.
Thank you, Neil. Great to meet everyone. I'm happy to be here. Like Neil said, I'm very passionate about helping grow small businesses. That's my passion. I started this agency 8.5 years ago, and my purpose is growing small businesses. I'm not here to sell you guys. I think we're in a day and age where, and that's the problem with what's happening to you guys, is it gets overwhelming, right? You see all these ads from ad agencies, from SEO to social media. And as a small business owner yourself, that's the owner operator in your home service, you don't know where to turn. And so you're sold, you burn money, you burn time. And so I love to educate. If you guys follow me every single day, I educate. And that's where Neil and I kind of connect, is because we love helping grow small businesses. No matter if you work with us or not, I want to guide you in the right path. I have a team of 47 full-time people here locally in Arizona. And I have a whole SEO team that helps grow small businesses and educates. So I have here one of my top SEO managers, Mark, who manages most of our home service based businesses here locally. And there's the thing is when it comes to SEO, there's a lot there. When I talk to a lot of home services, they really don't understand the definition of what SEO is. And the problem is with SEO is it's not like it was years ago, right? So a lot of times, a lot of businesses that I talk to, like yourself, they're working with an SEO company, or they think about SEO and they're doing maybe having their website hosted with a company and calling that SEO. And the problem is the market is so saturated right now. Take your plumbing business, take your HVAC business. There's 50 other plumbing businesses down the street. So what makes you different, right? How Google looks, and I just want to start with this so you guys can really understand this. If you take your name and you put it in a bubble, and then you have different tentacles and branches that go to different things, and that includes Yelp, that includes Google My Business profile, that includes your social. If all those things don't connect, they don't rank you. Google looks at the most authoritative businesses to say, do we want to rank this business to show to more businesses out there that are searching for it, right? And so they will rank the top three. Google Business Profile is one of the best ways to rank. And most small business owners that I talk to are not optimizing their profile the right way or consistently, or the SEO company that they're working with doesn't optimize their Google business profile. So I have Mark here. He's going to present and kind of take you down a little ways of how to optimize right when you start your Google business profile, as well as some things on a daily, weekly, quarterly thing that you can be doing. And then as well, after we'll leave it to some questions. We did get some questions about overall things of, address, not putting an address, suspensions, how to utilize Google business profile to get more phone calls. We'll go over all of that. And then after, I have an email PDF that I'll send to you that will present and show you on paper what you should be doing. So from there, I want to introduce Mark. Mark is going to talk about the Google business profile and how how to optimize it to help you guys grow. Mark, all you, buddy.
Thanks, Jacob. Just a quick little blurb about me. I've been doing SEO focused on local home service-based businesses for a little over 12 years now. So I have seen a lot of things change in SEO. I've seen the things that work and the things that haven't. Um, what I want to echo though from what Jacob said is we're not here to sell you anything. We just want to provide valuable information that can help you stand out among all of your competitors. Things that you are capable of going and doing to your own Google business profile as soon as this afternoon and starting to make a difference. Before I get into any of those things that you can be doing, I want to share a little bit of information and perspective about Google and kind of how Google looks at these profiles. We used to think just get reviews and you're going to be good. You're going to have more reviews than your competitors or you have a better rating. I've got a plumbing client that I'm starting on in just a day or two. They have almost 1,300 positive reviews on their Google business profile. And in years past, you would think, why do you need help? And that would have been true. Today, it doesn't matter if you have 2,500 positive reviews, it's not enough anymore. And the reason why is Google looks at your Google business profile and all of your online presence, SEO, all of your citations, everything. They look at you as a brand. And so that brand is a product that they serve to their customers who are people using search. Now, just like you as a business owner don't want to serve a bad product or a bad service, Google's the exact same way. They want to put their best foot forward so they don't lose you as a customer to go somewhere else like Bing or ChatGPT to do a search. So Google is more concerned now about the quality of what they're showing in their search engine to ensure that they are truly showing the best. Um, so how do we make sure that we have our best foot forward? There's really three buckets or pillars that we look at. One of those is relevance. The other one is distance from where that search is happening for a local business. And then the third being the prominence of your brand or just how trustworthy you are online. So for relevance, does your profile have what people are searching for? That's not just a keyword, that's not just a review. That's do you have content on there, images, text? Are your business categories and services set up properly? Do you have regular reviews coming in? Then you've got distance. So if you've got a large city that you're located in, if you're further away from where that search is happening than a competitor, even if that competitor may be not quite as good as you are, they could get the higher search ranking just because of their location. So it's extremely important that we establish in the profile what your location is or the areas that you service to make sure that you show up prominently in those areas. And then the third point about that trustworthiness, things tie into the Google business profile that you're doing outside of Google, like local business citations. Are you active on places like Yelp? Do you have a profile on Apple Maps? Are you prolific on the internet? Is your business information everywhere? Kind of, is your business card found online at a bunch of different places more than just on Google? If so, that's strong and that's trustworthy for Google to see that you have that information everywhere else. Beyond that, do you engage with your customers on that profile? Are you responding to reviews? Do you get reviews? Do you have photos? Overall, just are you active on that profile and are you trustworthy? Um, More than anything right now, Google is not looking for, are you the best because you have done all these things. It's more, are you consistently being active? Not, hey, I got 60 positive reviews last month in 1 week, but the other 3 weeks there was nothing. That's a major, major red flag to Google. If all you got last month was 4 positive reviews, but it was one each week, that's better than the 60 because it's consistent to Google. You're open, you're engaging with your customers, you're obviously out doing jobs or services because your profile indicates that. Okay, so why then is the Google Business Profile so important to your overall business impact, even if you've got your information published everywhere else, even if you're doing SEO on your website? Well, for the home service industry, the bulk majority of calls come from Google Maps. Someone wants to know something, they're going to grab this phone and they're going to pull it up and they're going to look for the service that they need, whether it's a roof, the plumber, countertop person, whatever it is. They're going to go to their phone and they're going to look. Maybe if they're sitting at work, they're going to look at it on their desktop, but more than likely, it's going to be on their phone. They're going to see a profile and they're going to click to call you. 60 to 70% of those calls for home service businesses come from Google Maps and the Google Business Profile. What makes this even more important, though, is about 90% of customers will never look past the first three. So if you're bottom of the page in your local map listings, you are getting a very, very, very small market share of those phone calls. We want to get you into the top three and help you get there. The other thing with the Google Business Profile is beyond your website, they convert at a 2 to 3x return compared to your website because it's instantly trustworthy. They can see photos of jobs you've done, they can see reviews, they see where you're located. Everything that they want to know in terms of should I work with this company? Are they trustworthy? Is found on the Google Business Profile. And beyond just calling you, if they want to click to go to your website to learn more about you, a lot of times that's done through the Google Business Profile as well, because they're kind of scoping you out, seeing what you're capable of and what your work history is before they want to learn more about you. So if you look at your website as this is kind of like your magazine, this is your brochure. It's ultimately the showcase of everything that you do, right? If you had ads up, those ads would be traffic that you either rented or paid for. Like you're paying to grab their attention. But your Google Business Profile, free leads. You don't have to pay a dime. If anyone tells you you need to spend money to do something on your Google Business Profile, run because it's a free tool from Google to be in their search results. So if you don't have all of the optimizations possible done on your Google Business Profile, everything else that you do becomes less effective. Because if that's the first thing that someone sees and they interact with and they judge you off of, if you don't have a strong presence on that Google Business Profile, everything else you do is less effective. Jacob, I see you've got your hand up.
Yeah, and I just want to hop in here on that because a lot of you guys get pitched on ads, right? And that's a question that we got a lot of is Google ads and Facebook ads and Meta ads. The problem is a lot of the businesses don't have the organic structure. So when you don't have your Google Business Profile optimized, right, and you're running Google ads, what do you think they do? They go on your Google Business, and that's the problem is you're running what's called top of funnel ads. You're not gathering all the data. So that's why a lot of times when I talk to people about Google ads, they're telling me my cost per lead is super high, right? It's super competitive. The problem is that you're not doing anything organic. That's the same on Meta, right? When people are running Facebook ads or Instagram ads, if you're not having consistent content go out organically, then you're losing those leads. And most of the times you're getting bad leads, right? You're getting people that are not answering and you're not getting a good conversion. So that's a big thing that I wanted to hit upon that Mark just said is that the first thing, no matter anytime you go into ads, which as a small business owner, we think is awesome. Hey, we spend $1, we get a transaction of a lead. The problem is you burn money and time because those leads don't turn into anything. If you did organic and you might manage your Google Business Profile, did these things, and then you did ads later, you can get a lower cost and get better results at a lower cost because your organic is more optimized and you've created to gather all that data, right? When you're doing ads, and this last thing, when you're doing ads, you're doing either top of funnel or bottom of funnel. Okay, I want you to think about this. Top of funnel means when your ads are running, this Instagram, social, Google is trying to learn who your audience is. It's called the learning phase. So they're spending your money trying to learn who your audience is, right? Which costs a lot of money, right? They don't know what your audience is. And that's the reason why the algorithm changed. If you guys ever heard about the iOS update on Meta and then the update on Google, what Mark just said, where they're not ranking top three, bottom three businesses anymore on Google. It's really hard to compete if you're not ranking top three. So I just wanted to kind of pop in there and say that.
Thanks, Jacob. The other thing I want to kind of echo about the ads is it's extremely important to do your organic SEO and this Google Business Profile marketing correctly, because if you did ads and then you decided to turn them off, if you hadn't done things properly on your Google Business Profile, when you turn those ads off, you're done, you're gone. I'm a big advocate of doing ads, but doing that alongside traditional SEO. That way, your business doesn't just disappear off the face of Google when you decide to stop paying money for those ads. Um,
Because
okay,
think
looking.
about it, and I just want to say this: think about it as a business owner yourself. All of you probably in this room don't want to be the cheapest in your category. Like we all say it, and that's all I hear. You want to be based upon the value that you bring, right? That is where your Google and your SEO comes in. When you want to be able to get people to call you and say, I want to work with your business. I've been following you. I've been seeing your reviews. I see how you guys work. I see everything about you. You don't want to be a transactional business that is purchasing leads off of Thumbtack, Align, whatever these profiles, Google ads. And now you're competing against 6 other businesses offering the bottom dollar for that. And usually those leads are transactional. There's no lifetime value there with those leads. But when someone calls you from a Google profile, you probably will understand and probably track this if you have the right tracking, that your close rate and your conversion rate is super high because they've been doing their due diligence and they saw you and you're the one that they want to talk to.
Sweet. So looking at the Google Business Profile, what's one of the things that you can do that's going to be the most effective? One of the first thing is your business categories. Within the Google Business Profile, you can set up what category your business falls in. Now, if you're a plumber, obviously you're going to say that you're a plumber, but we need to do more than just say, I'm a plumber. What services do you offer? What type of plumber are you? Here's kind of an exercise for keywords. So if you're looking for a mechanic because your brakes are squeaking, you probably aren't going to go to Google and search mechanic. You're going to look for a mechanic that offers brake service because you're looking for that specific thing. So you have to look at every single service that you offer within your service-based home business, and that category needs to be added. So if you are a plumber, do you do water heater repair? That's a category. Put that in there. Do you do emergency services 24/7? Add that. Do you repair the sewer line? Put that in there. It may seem like it's overkill, but this is how you start to, like I say, it's a game of 1%. This is the thing that's going to do 1% better than your competitor. And when you start to stack that and it starts to compound, pretty soon, making the effort to do something 1% better, you're now 5%, 10% better than a competitor who may have more reviews than you, but you have indicated to Google in a much more clear and precise way what you offer as a service business, where they have just said, we're just a plumber. So it's assumed that we do all these things. If someone goes to Google and they're searching for, emergency plumber near me, if your competitor doesn't list that they're an emergency plumber, chances are they're not going to get that. They may still show up because they're a plumber and they are a trustworthy plumber, but not as high as if you were to go in and say, I also offer this as a category of my business. Now, there's a difference in this is my category of business, and these are services that I offer. For example, if you said that you're a plumber who does sewer repair as a category, then in your services, you can list anything, almost limitless, of what you can do under that umbrella of sewer repair. Well, do you use cameras? Do you do jetting? Will you replace the sewer line? Do you do the excavation? There's a lot of services that fall under that category. Having those services listed is equally as important as having the category listed. It can seem daunting to try and go, how am I going to come up with all these services? How am I going to write them out? ChatGPT is a great tool. I'm not going to say we don't use AI. It's extremely helpful to say, I offer this service um, what are all the things that fall under that? I need help writing a description that's optimized for my business, and it needs to fall within, these characters or whatever. You can totally lean on AI to help you write that stuff and get it put on there. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, so two things off of that to help everyone. One, Mark, I think it would be good to maybe show that when you do a screen share to show that area so people can kind of see where that is. The second thing is everyone here, if you go on your Google business profile and you go to your analytics section, there's a section on the analytics that will show you the top keywords that people find you. And that's where Mark is saying is that some people will find you off of typing in those little small services and things like that, as well as there's other websites out there, just like he was saying ChatGPT, but there's other things that you can be doing, that you can be searching what competitors are doing on those different keywords and what your people are searching for. And that is what I would hone in, right? A lot of times when I meet with business owners, they want to portray the image that they want to portray. You got to meet in the middle. You got to think about what your customer is looking for too. At the end of the day, this is homeowner psychology. And the problem is most home services are a need-based business, right? When they need you, they are typing in those keywords on Google, and you need to be popping up the top three. So I just wanted to hit that. But Mark, at some point, I think it would be good to kind of show that so they can just see where that would be located at.
Yeah, good idea. Let's do that right now. Let me pop this up. So this is a plumbing company in the state of New York. This is the one I was mentioning that has a ton of reviews. You can see a 4.6 rating. They've got almost 1,300 reviews. This is awesome, but this isn't everything. So you've got three components here that really, really have heavy weight with Google. The first is this business description right here. Look how fleshed out this is. It's, hey, we're the number one plumber. We do drain cleaning, we do this, and here's the location that we do it in on just a main, like, large area. Okay. Why work with us? Well, here's our business name. We're your trusted experts for all of this stuff. We're available here. This is such a good description that talks about everything that they offer, plus a little bit of a call to action and benefit here. Hey, special offer. We also do these things if you want to work with us. That's great. Then when we come up here, when we go to edit the profile, here's the categories. So you can see we're not just saying we're a plumber. Well, we do drainage. We also do heat. We do furnace. I know for a regular plumber in some states, this is outside the norm. However, if all they said is we're a plumber, they will never show up for air conditioning, for air duct cleaning, for furnace. These are all services that they offer that don't get categorized into just plumbing. So this is really important to add the categories right here. Then services has a section entirely devoted to itself right here. When you go into services, when I mentioned earlier that you can pretty much add unlimited, look at this. It just keeps going. These are all services that this business offers. And I've gone in and I've optimized all of these. They have a description. So faucet installation, that seems like such a small thing. But if someone searches for a plumber who does faucet installation, because we've listed that as a service with a description, we're immediately better than all the other competitors who have not done that for that one service. Now, I'm not going to lie, it takes a little bit of time to come in here and add the service and to write that. However, this is what a successful Google business profile looks like, where every single thing that they do is here. Here's one that I wanted to point out as an example. You've got boiler maintenance, installation, and repair. A lot of times we think, well, repair and installation kind of falls under maintenance. It does, yes. We want to break that up to be as specific as possible for someone who's saying, I need the installation, I don't need the maintenance, or I don't need maintenance on this regularly. It's broken. I need a repair. That's why we break it up and go as granular as possible for everything that we offer in that one particular category. So the way it looks is kind of like almost like a triangle where your top service is going to be the main category. Then you have a little bit larger list of the category of things that you offer. And then your services are at the bottom, where that is the bulk majority that has all the details of everything that you offer. Now, I get asked a lot about keywords in those service descriptions. How ambitious should you be with putting keywords in there? And I like to err on the side of caution where I say, just be natural about it. Google wants to know that you do it and that you offer it. They don't want to know that you're the best at it in this area, and they don't care at that point. They just want to know that you do it. There is such a thing as over optimized SEO. And I have found out the hard way, if you do too much SEO and too much optimization, it will hurt you. So as a business owner, Google is so focused on seeing that you're providing value to their customers that they will overlook on things like the service description, the keyword stuffing. Just have in there, this is the service that we offer. Here's a short description about it. The keyword placement in there will be natural. A lot of times they want that to be under 300 characters. So as I mentioned earlier, that's kind of where ChatGPT can come in. So you're not struggling to write 50 or 60 different service descriptions under a certain character length. ChatGPT can kind of speed that up for you. Moving on to photos. This is one that a lot of business owners are a little bit vain about and they struggle with because they want all the photos that are uploaded to their profile to look uber professional and be polished. And trust me, as a photographer, I get it. I am extremely picky about images that I share because I'm coming from a place of perfection and I value what that looks like. However, people who go to that Google business profile who want to potentially work with you are not looking for perfection. They're looking for authenticity. So it is better to have a photo on there. And who cares if it's grainy or from an old cell phone? That's real. That is a more trustworthy photo than something that looks like it's out of a magazine spread or an advertisement because they know that's either staged or it's been photoshopped. It looks great and it looks great to the business owner, but to a customer, they don't want to see that. They want to see the picture that is telling the truth. So that's one part of the photos. The other thing is Google looks at that frequency and the recency of the photos. I see your hand, Jacob. I'll get you 1 sec. If all of a sudden you've got 200 photos that get uploaded and you go for 6 months and there's nothing, that doesn't look great. One of the best things that you can do is if you have a project and you go out, snap a picture of something that's not going to show any of the homeowner's personal information, throw it on your Google business profile that you did that job. That's the recency and that's engagement and it's quality and truthful. Go ahead, Jacob.
No, I was just gonna add. I like you kind of hit it on the point, but at the end of the day, that's the biggest problem as home services that I meet is a lot of you are overwhelmed with these different tricks and hacks and things like that. Of hey, I should upload it this way. There is that case to be made. At the same time, by you just uploading consistently, you're beating your competitor because they are not doing those things. And Google looks at those things, right? So I tell people, even on your website, and I don't want to go into depth on website optimization, but by just optimizing your website, updating your website consistently compared to the competitor that doesn't, Google looks at that, right? And says, okay, they're on top of their stuff more than this person. So that's where Mark is saying, look, by just getting consistency, when I talk about marketing strategy, no matter if it's social, SEO, anything like that, what you're doing is it's all about consistency and creating structure. So when I teach people on social media, I tell them if you're posting at 9 a.m., you have to post every Monday at 9 a.m. to teach your algorithm that's your posting. It's not about how many posts you get out. You can have one solid post be consistent and powerful compared to 3 posts a day. And a lot of times when I meet with business owners, they think, oh my God, I got to post 4 to 5 times a day and things like that. That's not what it's about. The algorithm looks at consistency and the right type of content that you're posting. And that's the same thing here on the Google side. So when you're uploading content or photos, the authenticity as well. So a lot of times I meet with home services and business owners like yourself, and you overthink things. Hey, it needs to be this way. It needs to be this way. It needs to be this way. I don't know. I don't know how I look. Just do it. Look authentic. Be real and things like that. A lot of times us business owners like to be very professional with our content and things like that. There are people in here that follow me and they have seen that where I'm very authentic. That is what the algorithm wants, especially now with AI, right? AI is very concerned, Google is very concerned with AI and these social platforms because you can make anything look professional now, right? So they want that in the moment feel When you're on a job, snap a picture, upload it as a photo to the photo section. Mark, you keep going.
Adam, I see that you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, question on that. So let's say that you have a consistent structure in place with posting, but you have something that you want to do, a sale or a promotion. Would you wait till that time that is the consistent time, or would you potentially do a one-off?
Yeah, I would do it as a one-off. So if your regularly scheduled post was I'm doing a Google Business Profile post every Friday, but I want to run the special starting Monday, you're not going to get like penalized or dinged to have multiple things on there. That actually feels more natural from Google's point of view of hey, they're scheduling the or they're doing posts regularly, but there's going to be a promotion that comes along every once in a while. That's totally normal. Great question.
One other question with that. So obviously they have this scheduler now on
Yes.
Google Business Profile.
Yeah.
I would naturally assume that obviously their scheduler doesn't have any hits by using it, of course, but I know a lot of times people will use different platforms to schedule posts. Do you still see that it takes a hit when somebody uses those schedulers?
So this is a very good question. I have a unique take on this. If Google rolls out a new feature, a new tool that's part of one of their products, use it. They want to see maybe that's not business engagements that are coming, but it is you engaging with their tool. And it's not like you're going to rank higher than a competitor because you used a feature, but it is one of those signals to Google that you're engaging with your profile and you're active. Um, as far as kind of getting more activity on there that kind of goes along with these photos is when you solicit a positive review from a customer, beg them to add a photo. If you went and you cleaned their carpets, ask them to add a photo of their clean carpets. We can't tell from the photo that the carpet's clean, but it's a picture that goes to the Google Business Profile alongside a positive review. That's like a double hit. The biggest thing is if your profile has no activity, if nothing's happening on it from any of the things that we've talked about, reviews included, it's just not going to rank. It won't. So reviews is probably one of the most like sought after review and advice of how do I do this? What's important? What's the magic number when it comes to Google Business Profile? I showed you earlier the profile that had nearly 1,300 reviews. That used to be amazing, and now it's nothing. It's consistency. I have seen Google Business Profiles that only have 50 reviews outrank competitors that have 1,000 reviews, and the reason why is the reviews that came in on the smaller number, they were coming in consistently. And this is where this gets a little bit decisive. They weren't all 5 stars. I love the 5 star reviews, especially if they're legit and they offer value. But a negative review that's a 2 star, 3 star, or 4 star will do more positive for your Google Business Profile if you handle it correctly. One example of this, I did Google Business Profile Management for a chain of nursing homes. And it was the negative reviews and how those negative reviews were handled and responded to that we were told over and over and over again, actually sold business to those companies because users got to see how they were going to be treated if they had a problem. Go ahead, Jacob.
No, so I just want to add this, and this is where I want every one of you guys to understand this from a homeowner psychology, and even put yourself in as a home service that goes on Google. All these businesses, if you've been in business for 5, 10 years, we are human. We make mistakes. We do. Like if you have all 5 stars and you've been in business for 10 years, sometimes you think that's fake. I want to look at how you respond to a negative review, right? What's your response there and how do you solve it, right? We teach that in life. I teach that to my son. I teach that to my employees. You will make a mistake. It's all about how accountable you are and how you own it. And I do believe that's a big thing on Google is we chase all these 5 stars and we chase all these things. And like I said, and Mark is saying too, I've seen, and there's a few people on here that I've seen do it. When you get a review, sending a text message and say, hey, include these keywords, include my geographic location, include the services that I do. I am telling you that does better than someone just writing a review, giving you a 5 star and saying they did a great job, right? And that goes as well with you responding. responding in depth with a good thing rather than saying thank you for the response and that looks auto generated, right? I want to go back really quickly and give my take on what Adam asked about a third party scheduler, right? We have seen data that does show on social and on Google that it can reflect in not the best, like reach, for example, on Instagram and social when you're using a third party. There's some that will tell you not. I've seen the data that shows you that it is. I can't speak on this. I will say if there is a scheduler on Google, I would agree with Mark. Why not use that? Google is trying to push that for you. Use it. Use their services, everything that they're trying to offer you on an organic side as well. That helps you create more consistency, right? If they're offering that for you and it creates more consistency for you, because as a business owner that is working in the business, not on the business, that we have so many things going on, if that allows us to be able to get ahead a little bit, then I would do that. So just want to add to that. Mark, keep going.
Perfect. Yeah, the biggest thing with the reviews is there is no magic number. It Yes, you need to have some reviews. Like it's great to have 30 or 50 eventually to say, hey, we actually are established in here. I would say that's about the only concrete thing. However, if you're a business where you just don't get a lot of reviews, don't hold yourself to some standard that you need to be getting 4 reviews a week if that's just not what you're capable of doing. If you were capable of doing one every 2 weeks and you were consistent with that, that's great. Stick to that and maybe set a stretch goal of let's try to get one a week. And then you just build from there. Google doesn't like a roller coaster. The second that you see a spike, it sets off alarm bells with Google. That doesn't look real because it's never happened in the history of your company. So don't do that. If there's one thing you hear from me from this entire thing, do not ever go buy positive reviews. You will get suspended and your profile will get shut down and wiped off Google faster than you would ever believe. They know so much about where people are putting reviews, down to if you were opening other accounts and trying to leave positive reviews near the same IP address, they will know it's fake. Don't try and pull the wool over their eyes. Just run things honestly.
Well, the same thing what you told me, like don't even have your employees try leaving your review.
Correct.
Right?
Don't
Don't
do
have
that.
your employees and tell them why, because the way you said it to me was perfect. So they can hear that.
You can have employees who genuinely like love working for you and they love the company and they want to leave a positive review. But to a customer, that has nothing to do with the experience of working with your company because your employee didn't pay you to come do the service that you offer. And if they did, it's still in a little bit of a gray area. Have a family member or friend that they know leave the review instead. It has to be authentic. That's what Google wants. As this product that they're trying to show, they don't want to look like they're showing things that are deceitful. So just don't be deceitful. But with the reviews, just look for consistency. Ronnie, I see your question. I'll get to that negative review thing in 1 second. When people leave a positive review, if all they do is leave 5 stars and there are no words at all, that can be a bummer because you want something in there that says a keyword or it says a location. And I get that. But in a situation like that, you can respond because you'll know who the person is and the job that you went and did. In that review, let's say that you're a plumber, you could say, hey, we really appreciate you having us out to fix your broken sewer line. We're glad that we were able to be there so quickly and get that taken care of before it became a bigger problem. Something like that. That way you're basically saying the positive review that they should have said while responding to them, and that's personable, and you're addressing what their need was. As far as the negative review, I'm going to answer Ronnie's question, but this is something I wanted to talk about anyway. When someone has a negative review, there's typically 2 types. There's the kind that they're just hurt and they want to hurt someone else, and they say something that is so far beyond what the experience was. In situations like that, Google can see that there's hate speech or discrimination, or it just is off topic. You can flag reviews like that for removal. I'm going to show real quick how you do that because that's important to know. So when we come in here and read a review, let's say This one that this company got 4 hours ago that I responded to, let's say it's just completely untrue. You hit this stop sign and you report the review, and it's going to give you an option here where you can pick one of these. You can't pick multiple, but it has to fall within this category. Usually it's off topic, or maybe they're bullying, or maybe they have personal information. If it legit is within Google's definition, they will have it removed soon. There's some that you have to kind of petition on, and that's a whole other presentation on how to do that. But you can do that. If it's the other type of negative review, where it's someone who truly just did not have a good experience, their expectations weren't met, something happened. It happens. Respond to it in a way where you acknowledge that what they're saying, they're heard, and that whatever that issue is will be addressed. You don't need to go into the specifics of we're going to do X, Y, and Z to fix the problem. Just acknowledge that they didn't have the experience they thought they were going to have, and that whatever their issue is going to be taken care of. And you can take it a step further by saying, someone will be reaching out, or I'm the business owner, I personally will be reaching out to talk to you about this and make sure that it's made right. The final part of this, and this is what I believe is the most important part after you have that response, don't ask them to change the review to a 5-star. Leave it as the 1-star or the 2-star, always, because if someone goes to that business profile and they sort by, I want to see the most recent, or I want to see the negative reviews, and that's the one they come across, they're going to go, wait a second, it's not a negative review. This is a positive review that has a 1-star because of how things were handled. And just like that, trustworthiness is established between you and that potential customer, and they will, more than often, they will work with you. There was a question about
Hey Mark, I would say let's focus on the questions after, so we can just get through the thing, and then we'll just handle questions after.
Cool. So again, with the reviews, don't ask friends, don't ask family, don't ask employees. Just make sure that you have a system in place for when you finish a job and you know it went successfully, that you're going to solicit that positive review without being overly harassing to them. If it takes 2 times and they haven't left the review, I'd leave them alone. Some people just don't want to leave the review, and it's not worth losing a potential customer later on because you could not get a positive review from them. So if we look at Google Business Profile on what things should I be doing weekly and what things should I be doing maybe monthly, every week, you should treat this like social media. Put a new post on there. It could be, we got this new piece of equipment, or we have this new employee, or this is a service that we offer. It doesn't matter what the post is about, so long as you're consistent with doing something weekly. Strive to get a couple new photos posted to your profile every week. There's no magic number. If you had 3 to 5, 10, whatever it is that you can commit to doing every week, do that. If it's just one that you can do every week, awesome. Do that, because that's better than what your competitor's doing. If you can get 2 to 5 reviews per week, again, this isn't, you have to do this to be successful, but 2 to 5 reviews a week shows Google and it shows potential customers. This is a company who's active, who's working with a lot of people, and who has a lot of success. That's a great goal to try and get to. But if you can only do one every week or one every 2 weeks or something, that's still acceptable. It's just that consistency. As long as you're trying on a weekly basis to get the new reviews, that is really, really good. Another important thing along with the reviews that need to be addressed on a weekly basis is you need to respond to reviews that come in, positive or negative. Now, it's better to respond maybe within the first 24 to 48 hours. But if it's like, you know what, I'm just going to go in and every Tuesday I'm going to respond to reviews. Okay, that's better than letting them sit there for 7 weeks. I would, on a weekly basis, this is something I do, I go and I just review the services and categories and make sure that, one, they all align, but Google also uses AI to suggest business categories tied to your business because it's trying to help you. It's a double-edged sword because a lot of times there are business categories that Google introduces to the profile that we don't know about yet. And so it's introducing those. Great. However, Google doesn't have that tool all the way kind of fleshed out, where it will look at something on your site and go, "Oh, well, you do epoxy garage floors, and you wrote about how good that is to store your lawn care equipment on. You must be a lawn care company." I've had that happen where a client was getting phone calls to go mow people's lawns when that's not at all what they offered, because AI came in and said, "Well, because you've got this content on your site, therefore you must offer this service," and they didn't. So that's something that needs to be checked, ideally on a weekly basis. It doesn't take a lot of time to pop in there and just go, "Oh, yeah, everything's fine." If Google does suggest an edit, it will show you Google made a suggestion and it will highlight what's there. So that's a very, very short, quick thing to look at. Sometimes there are Q&As that pop up on the Google Business Profile. If someone asks a question, you'll be notified about it by email. I would just respond to that when it comes in. But if it's part of your process to say just once a week, I'm going to go in and do these things, make sure that that's a part of that process. When it comes to the post, one final note I wanted to share: do not try and make every post a sales thing or a call to action like, "Okay, call me and buy now." At a certain point, everyone knows they're being marketed to, but they don't want to be marketed to in a way that's like, "Hey, look at this, give me your money." If that's all it's going to be, Google is going to very quickly just kind of push you to the side. They want something that provides value in those posts. So be mindful of whatever that sales verbiage is. Now, if you're running a promotion, obviously that needs to be sales focused and sales heavy. That's understandable. Just try not to be spammy with it. Now, on a monthly basis, I would go in there and I would review things like your performance metrics. How many people called you over the last month? And how does that compare to the previous year? I like to look at things on a year over year basis, because if you look at things like January versus December, even though they're two winter months, almost half of December is out with two holidays. January is not. So your metrics are never going to line up directly. But seasonally, you can say December over December, pretty much the same. How did we perform? That gives you an idea of how things are trending. Same with, how many searches did I appear in? How many people clicked on my website? How many people looked for directions to get to my location, etc. I would also look at your competitors. Go through their business profile on a monthly basis. This will give you ideas for what they're doing for their posts. It'll give you an idea of how they're responding to reviews. Anything that's public is for anyone to see and learn from and go, "I can improve this on my profile. I'm going to go do that." Especially if they're outranking you. It's kind of like a math test where you can just reverse engineer everything. If someone's outranking you with their Google Business Profile, go check it out. See what it is that they're doing that you're not. The final thing that I would do is I would review the metrics of the keywords that people are looking at that are getting to your profile. If you're ranking for a keyword, or you're getting a lot of traffic for that, I would put a little bit more emphasis on your posts and the keywords on your profile to make sure that you're in line with what people are searching for the most. And then finally, for more of a quarterly, just a couple times a year, I would go through that profile with a fine tooth comb, look at the categories, look at that description that I showed you as an example, review everything on there and make sure it adds up. On a quarterly basis, I would also be trying to pursue getting new local business citations added to other places like Foursquare, Dex. There's services that you can use to pay for those citations to be built, so it's not taking a bunch of your time. I know that's not a Google Business Profile specific thing, but it is an outside optimization that you can make that builds trust and strength to the information that is housed within your Google Business Profile. And then the only other thing that I would look at is just making sure that you're putting fresh photos on the profile that have the image carry the name of keywords you're trying to do. So if you're a plumber in Miami, Florida, I wouldn't have your image be named like, image 9076. I'd have it be named Best Miami Plumber or Best Miami Drain Cleaner, whatever that service is that you're trying to show. That's a good way to sneak in some of the keywords. So overall, the biggest thing here is Be alive, look alive, be active, show Google that you're real, that you're trustworthy, and that you interact with your customers on a regular basis. Over time, as you implement this stuff, you stay active on the profile, you've got reviews coming in, and that wheel is rolling. Over time, that will equal dominance in local search results and in your Google business profile. Few things to note that are important. Number one, if you are not, make sure you are the owner of your own page. And I can show you right now how to check that. If you're not, you need to request that you become the primary owner of your own business. It's unacceptable to have someone else hold that hostage. So here's your business. Right here, these three dots, business profile settings, and then people and access. This is a good opportunity for you to review who has access to your profile. You should be this primary owner. This is me. I'm just a manager of this. What that means is I can't do anything to this profile that would take it away from him or would ruin it for him. You don't want to be flipped here. You don't want to be a manager of your own business profile. You need to be the primary owner.
This is so huge. I can't even tell you how many people I've seen that don't have control of this.
Yep.
It's their ex-spouse, it's their ex-SEO company.
Yep.
This is like red flag huge. You guys make sure that you, and Jacob has some tips. I just wanted to chime in real quick.
I want to add to this because this is not, and I want you guys to all take notes of this because this is not just a Google business thing. There are businesses every day that don't understand that you guys should own everything about your business, not only the domain, but your hosting, the assets to your business, and everything like that, including the Google business profile. If an SEO agency has ownership, or you didn't even know because they created your Google business profile, they will become the automatic owner. They should not, right? The other side of it too is most SEO companies will have it on their hosting. And if you ever want to leave them, guess what? I'm sorry for the language. I've seen it all the time. You're shit out of luck because technically they built the website on their hosting, meaning they own all the assets to it. Unless they're a good company that will tell you ahead of time, we will transfer it. The other problem is they will sometimes own the code. So even if they do transfer it to you or to another business, maybe they coded the job form or the form on the website. So that form doesn't go to the other hosting. So I want you to keep that in mind is you should look into everything of yours and make sure that you're the owner of every single thing when it comes to your social media accounts, when it comes to your Google business profile, when it comes to your website.
Yeah, do this on Monday, you guys, because I won't say today because it's Friday, but this is so important that you own all those properties.
Agreed. Thanks, Jacob. Going along with just how important that is, it's also important to just go through every single piece of that profile where it allows you to enter information and put something there. If Google has a field where you can add something, add it. That's one of those things to do better. The final thing I'm going to address is the address question. This is a key point. Some of you are service-based businesses that operate out of your home. I get that. I'm never going to tell you you need to list your home address. Some business owners are comfortable doing that, others are not. But when people are trying to find a business, Google will show businesses first that have a location. One, it is a physical location on a map that is a drop pin that says, I'm right here. This is precisely how far away I am from you down to the eighth of a mile. If you're a service-based business, yes, you cover that area, but Google doesn't know exactly how far away you are. It does make it a little bit more challenging to show up in those local search results. So the question being, should you publish your address or not? If you have the ability to, and you can verify that you are there as a business, my professional SEO opinion is yes, you should publish that. There are obviously there's circumstances where you can't. There's obviously times where even if you can publish it, you're not going to be able to verify that you're there because you don't have signage, whatever. If you can, and there's a way to make it work, I would strongly suggest that you publish the address. I know there's going to be specific cases. We could get into those on a one-on-one basis to kind of troubleshoot whether or not it works for you, but it adds a lot of relevance and trust, and it is very helpful to Google to see where you're at, and it's helpful for the customer to know that you actually are there. Go ahead, Jacob.
Yeah, I just wanted to add, and this is where I want you guys to understand this, and this is where I'd say to everyone that I meet, even clients. No matter if you work with us, you work with someone else, I want to guide you in the right thing, because small businesses are taking advantage of a lot. And the one thing I will say is, when you meet with a lot of these SEO companies, marketing companies, things like that, they will strong arm you and they will get you to a point, because that's what's taught in the marketing field, is to own everything, right? So if you ever have to leave, it's really hard for you to leave, right? Because they own the assets, they own the CRM, right? They own the socials, the content, whatever that is. And so I really want you guys to understand that the first part of this is protection, right? If that means you creating your Google business profile under another email address that you're the owner of, and no one else has access to that, that's the case. I have seen horror stories from it where people have been burned and lost everything because of hey, this person that I know, they would never do that to me. And it happens. Mark has to deal with that. Websites getting taken down because of it. Google business profiles taken down. And so I just want you guys to be protected. That's the number one thing that I want you guys to come out of this too.
Sweet. So I'm looking over here in the chat. I'm going to address a couple of these questions. Ronnie had one. Do you have a recommendation on how to respond to a negative review that is completely false? When I talked earlier about the negative reviews that are bad, when there's reviews that are completely false, there's two ways here. The first, if it's a review that gets left at your business that has nothing to do with your business, meaning you don't even know who the customer is, you didn't interact with them, yes, respond to that and say, hey, so-and-so, really sorry to hear the experience you had, but I don't believe that was with our business. We don't recognize your name, whatever. Add all that information to make it clear that you didn't work with them, and then still flag that review for removal, saying that it has nothing to do with your business. If it's the other type where, and I'm dealing with one of these right now for a roofing company, where the review that was left was from a customer, but it is so beyond what happened, my recommendation is do not respond. If they're going to go to the extent to put something on there that is that far out of control, or that far beyond what actually happened, it's almost like they're trying to have a public argument with you. Don't give in. Just flag it for removal and say, this is off topic, this didn't happen, whatever you need to categorize that as. If the review will not come down, you can escalate it to the point where you can have a support email with Google and you can explain why it's not actually what happened. I've never in 12 years had a positive experience where I gave in to trying to talk to that person on a review and say, sorry you had this, but that isn't actually what happened. At the end of the day, when you're trying to show potential customers how you handle something, you don't want to come across as combative and saying, that actually isn't what happened, it's this. Even if that's true, you're better off not to do that, because you'll lose business from that. What about a colleague you have done work for? We will do repair for other companies who do not do that type of work. Can they leave you a review? Absolutely. And that's awesome. That actually could be seen as potentially more trustworthy, because it's another business reviewing you, not just a homeowner. It also establishes the fact that you're not just doing one type of work. If you're a plumber, you're not just going to homes. You could be going to apartment complexes or businesses to do that. So absolutely, that's a great type of review to get. Google review response can be up to 4,096 characters long. This limit includes letters, numbers, spaces, and symbols. Keyword, your owner reply, that's like 500 words. Good point. Google removes the verbiage, but leaves the star rating.
Here, Mark, answer this question that a couple people have done, is about the Google verification.
Yeah.
People are saying about that, right? Like not getting verified, Google post.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Okay, so I've got a friend here in my city. He's trying to get his business verified. He's on his third attempt. He's done everything by the book that Google says. Occasionally, it just doesn't work. And I don't have a rhyme or a reason to say, well, it's this one thing. Sometimes you just need to do it a couple of times. As long as you are doing everything that Google indicates in there, you're good. Similar to a negative review, you can escalate and open a support ticket and say, I'm having issues with this. I need help. Here's what I've done. And they will help. I know that Google just went through a massive core update for most of December. Historically, when they do things like that, there's usually some ripples that go through some of their services that cause problems. So I would say if you're doing everything you're supposed to, the problem isn't you. It's probably Google in a situation like that. Um, I I have seen some of those take 8 weeks to get approved, and I've seen others that I've been a part of get done in 3 minutes. So I don't know what internally with Google causes that backlog and causes that delay, but usually if your verification is not approved because you are missing something, that will be communicated to you. It will say that it was denied. If it's just stuck in verification, there's nothing you've done wrong that you would know of at that point, and there's nothing you can do to speed that up. You're just at the mercy of Google, and that's what really sucks. Is we have to have Google, and sometimes we just don't.
But
We hate it.
maybe have a professional, Heidi. There was two of them there. Have a professional to look at it. Maybe these guys can they take a look, and
Yeah.
if you do it wrong the very first time, that might snag you, but it can be fixed. And this is so important to, knock it out and get it done.
The
Yeah.
one thing that I add,
Oh, I was just going to say this. We see this a lot with garage door companies, handyman, as well as locksmiths. Google has I mean, if you do it wrong and you upload wrong, you can have your Google suspended for 8 months, right? You need, this is the one thing I will tell you, and this is not a sell or anything like that. As a business owner, your job is to focus on your business and to focus at what you're good at. Marketing has changed so much, and these algorithms have changed so much that you can burn a lot of time, a lot of money if you don't do it the right way. You guys all sell the service, right, on value and things like that, rather than going the cheap option of someone that doesn't have a license or anything like that. It's the same thing here. There's so many aspects, and I'm not saying use us, whoever, have professionals look at things like that because it will do you well so in the long run. Because I will tell you, a lot of you probably aren't getting results off Google, and you guys are all need-based businesses. That is where Google specializes in. So there's something that you're missing, most likely, and most of the time, that's the strategy behind it, right? And so I don't want to go into, we've been doing this for an hour, and there's already people starting to, go off, and we're happy to answer any questions after and things like that you can message, and things like that. But I just want to hone in on that there, you have to understand that we're in a market now, that there are 50 other businesses across the street that do what you do. And just by doing word of mouth and referrals doesn't work the same anymore. You have to create that awareness. You have to create that funnel for you. And especially based upon your business and a need-based business, you need to be popping up when people are searching for social, or for SEO. The problem is you can't just do that alone. And that's the one thing I want to tell you. Google is not the only thing you should be doing. You have to be doing everything. So the problem is most of you hire an SEO person and say, well, we're not ranking. Nothing is happening because they're doing one thing, right? So I'll give you a little tip. One of the biggest ways to rank is having social searches, right? Brand searches. When someone goes on Google and types in your business, that tells Google you're an authority. People are searching for you. We want to rank them. That's where social media comes into play, right? Because if someone sees you on an ad or social, they go on Google, they type in your name, right? So there's a lot of different tricks here and things like that. But that's what I wanted to get to, is where, like I said, a lot of you probably don't experience things, and you want some overnight success. And this is all about building blocks, right? And having these things optimized. Anything at the end, Mark, to finish up?
one small point to add to that. I touched earlier how you need to be an owner, the primary owner of your Google business profile. If you are the one trying to do the verification and you are not the primary business owner, that can be negatively impactful. If you're the primary business owner trying to verify your own business, I've always seen greater success with that. So make sure that you are that person when you're trying to do that review. Yeah, to close out, Jacob's right. This is all important, but where Google looks at your stuff as a brand, you need to be doing as much as possible. If you're not active on social media, do it. If you're not active on your website, publishing new content, do it. Uh, Anything that you can do to get more of your business exposed and shared online, do it. Be in the local news, do something locally that's going to get something shared, be part of organizations locally that highlight your business, that share your business, be part of the Chamber of Commerce, join business groups. The list goes on and on and on. But anything that you can do to get your business in front of more people and other professionals, you win. And it's that thing of you're just doing a little bit more than your competitors. So at the end of the day, though, Google Business Profile is one of the largest portions of what you can be doing online. And if you're going to stick to just doing that, do more than your competitors, optimize regularly, and provide value to potential customers, and you will succeed in Google.
Neil, you're on mute.
Sorry about that. What is the best way for people to reach you guys if they're interested in some more information or follow up? That was just asked.
Yeah, no. Like I said, my our company name is called Fantastic Media. Website's fantasticmediallc.com. Obviously, you guys can follow me on my personal on Facebook. All I do is just create content to educate you guys as a business owners. I don't sell. I just want to educate you because that's what I tell people, and this is the same in your industry. Would you rather work? And I'll end it off like this: the reason why organic works so well is in your space. Would you rather work with a marketing company that has been educating you for the last year, teaching you learning their core values, how they operate, their reviews, everything organic, or rather work with someone that's spending $50,000 on a paid ad, right? I'd rather work with a business that I've learned about and understood about, and I learned everything about them and how they respond and things like that. So take a look at our Facebook. Well, if you want to message me a question or anything like that, I'll be happy to do so. But like I said, we're here locally, and we're here to help you with any questions or concerns. Okay.
Very good. We did record this. We'll put out a recording afterward on follow up. You want to wrap it up, Jacob?
No, yeah, no, I just really appreciate everyone's time. We're gonna hopefully, we do a lot of different things, and I try to come up with a lot of things at the end to help small businesses. Small businesses are the backbone of this country, and that's the problem that I see so many small businesses are left in. They're left in this area where they're overwhelmed and get sucked to information. At the end of the day, I will tell you, and I'm going to lead it off like this: you have to do extra things like marketing. You have to do other things in this line of business. You have to differentiate yourself from the other people down the street from you. It is not good enough anymore just to do a great service and expect great outcomes off of that. If you're trying to scale, you have to create that brand awareness for your business. And Google is just one of those ways. And hopefully we helped you kind of optimize that for now. So
Yeah. I wanted to thank you, Jacob. Jacob's family's been in business in the Valley for decades, like for a
yeah,
super duper long time. He loves small business owners. It's obvious. There's a lot of information to cover in an hour on these topics. Hopefully, you guys got some nuggets out of there. And we will do this again and cover some future topics. So you can reach out to either one of us and tell us what you'd kind of like to, discuss or learn about. Mark, thank you for being here with us today. And thank everyone for coming. I hope you guys have a great weekend.
thank you.